introduce the next thing that we're doing, which is a mozzarella ball basically. And I'm using cashew nuts for this, and I'm saying mozzarella ball, but it's not really mozzarella, because mozzarella is a product, and we could try to make it and call it mozzarella, but it's not. So this is just a lovely ball of product that we can leave to set in the fridge, and we can use on top of pizza, pasta, pizza, I would suggest. So we're doing that today as well. So let's just move some of these things out of the way. And get going now. I'm just going to say, it's always a good idea when you're in the kitchen to get, I mean, these notebooks, I've got loads of them, home bargains, you know, whatever, get a notebook, get a kitchen notebook going if you're learning, because you can always make notes, and it doesn't have to be expensive, and it's best if it's a spiral bound thing, so that, you know, it's not taking up too much real estate. I've jotted these recipes down today to make sure I get all these ingredients correct. And so I'm keeping this here to just work from. There's no teleprompter there telling me what. So vegan recipes quite often have a few ingredients, and I've decided to not try to memorise because I could get them wrong. So that's what this is. But get yourself a notebook and get scribbling things down, and then you can refer back to them, date it, refer back to it, and then you can build up your knowledge and your skills. Okay, so what we need to do is to take these cashews, which is 130 grams. And I've been soaking these since I've been on air, as it were, and I'm just going to drain them. So they're drained, and I'm going to put them in this here, which is my smoothie maker. Oops. Now that they're drained, and in this smoothie maker I've got some water, 170 ml of water, so those cashews are in there. And then I'm going to put in my 30 grams of tapioca flour. Tapioca flour is a very common ingredient. You might not have used it. It's a great thickener, and it's gluten free as well, so that's going in. What else are we going in? We're going 3 teaspoons of nutritious yeast. That's right. Not a huge amount of that. And then we're doing 3.5 tablespoons of this rice vinegar. That's 1, 2, 3.5. So you just want a bit of tang, basically. So that's what that's done. We're putting 2 teaspoons of salt in, because as you know, cheese is quite salty, quite umami. And then in this pan, I've got some coconut oil. It's about 15 grams in there, I think it was. Yeah, 15 grams. So in here, I've got everything that I'm now going to blend. I think you can just see that I've got my sage bullet here. And it's going to get a bit noisy, but we're going to blend this up. So it's quite easy. There it all is. It's going to get blended now. I wanted you to see this happen, but it is quite noisy now. Right, okay, so there is nothing that sage bullet won't blend to perfect smoothness. So that sage bullet has not only smoothed the cashews into something very nice for the palate, it's also mixed everything very well. And for what's happening next, you need it to mix really well. So all of that goes in there. And you're going to cook it. So you can see that it actually cooks really quite quickly. And the next stage of this is to make these little balls. And I've made some earlier that I'm just going to have a look at later, but we're going for these balls here. So the way to do it is to get a piece of cling film and some sort of mould. Let me just clear everything else out of the way. So, to be quite honest, when I do this, I do it a bit more quickly, but I don't think that's the best idea. For this demo, basically. So it's starting to thicken and go lumpy. So you're cooking the tapioca, you see. Right, okay, so here we go, look. So what I'm smelling here is a cheese, basically. And, you know, I'm glad you can see in this pan and see how this starts to come together. Cook it slowly, so you do actually cook it. You want that tapioca cooked through. So as you know, I did a home-based restaurant quite some time ago, 2018, and had pizza on the menu, homemade pizza. It actually, the pizza menu was the least popular menu, think about it. I think my customer base just preferred me to make more intricate meals, but this is what I developed for those pizzas. We are going to do pizza dough making. So there we go. So yeah, you don't want it too hot. What's going to go wrong here? Let's just think about it. It might go lumpy, so cook it quite slowly to avoid that lumpy thing. You could get interrupted, so it might become quite solid. But I quite like the look of that. I've made it a few times. Don't make it a lot though. But I dug out the recipe and made it a few times recently. I just thought, oh yeah, this is quite nice. I might start making this a bit more often. Okay, so good. Let's just get a couple of clothes pegs and so forth. Right, okay, so to shape it, you want to put it into something like this cup measure that I've got here. So it's been lined with just a sheet of cling film. And I'm just going to have to move this camera so that you can just see this better. There we go. That'll be fine. Okay, so I'm looking at this going, well, that's not ideal because that isn't really big enough and that's too big. But that's just to sort of hold it in there. Get the, oopsies, get the edges up. But don't get too worried, I'm picking up that there. And I'm just going to squeeze. Just check you can see. Right, so you squeeze. Maybe I need a head-based camera. Oh, I don't think that would work either, really. Right, so we're just making sure that all the air's out and just turn it round. This is where you need one of these bad boys. I love pegs for everything. And then it's going to go in there. Cold water. So I'm going to do that again, just in case I missed showing you the first bit of that. Not quite a lot here, actually. Let's just get all of that in there, I think. I think you'll be able to see that. Well, I'm sure somebody will have a better idea than this. This is just the idea I came up with. I just thought it would just help me work this cling film. And I like putting it into cold water because then you end up with something that's a nice shape. You end up with a round then, you see, for cutting to go on top of pizzas. Just checking that's right, actually. Yeah, that is. I've got one of these. So that's good. Now then, I think buffalo mozzarella is obviously quite white. We're not going to have white. I embrace the whole food thing. And in fact, the roux can be made with wholemeal flour, and I absolutely love that. So this isn't bright white, is it? But do we care? No, we do not. So that there, and it's going to cool those off. You could put some ice cubes in there, and then you need to let them set, and then ideally pop them in the fridge. And then you can carve them, you can slice them. And so in true cookery program style, here's one I did earlier. And that will cut very nicely. Don't kick the camera. Keep them nice and cold, but that will cut very nicely into slices that then you can put on top of pizza, and it is really, really lovely. And because there's oil in there and tiny bits of tapioca flour and tiny bits of cashew, what happens under heat is it melts out a bit. It tastes really nice. There are lots of different recipes. I've tried quite a few, but I settled on this one because I think it's got a good balance of flavour and texture, and it hasn't got agar in it because I'm just trying to move away from products like that, basically. Tapioca flour, tapioca's a real thing. Yes, it's been processed into a flour, but still it just seems better than agar. I know that's seaweed processed. I don't know. I just feel a bit easy about it. But I've got loads of it. I made a few recipes of it, and now I've got lots of it. So that's where we are. So that there is. I'm not going to say it's mozzarella. It's a lovely thing that sets, that you can put on top of pizza, homemade pizza, or slices into sandwiches, or paninis, or you could put them on top of flatbreads, you know, slices with rocket tomato sauce. You know, you could make a flatbread, put some tomatoes on, put some slices of that on, put some rocket, put some pine nuts or walnuts. You're going to have like a pizza thing going on. You know, there's all sorts of things you can do with all the different breads. So that's what that is, and that brings us to the end of this demonstration.